Morning, church. What an inspiring prayer. Thank you so much for your prayer this morning. Um, my heart was thoroughly into prayer. At the same time, the praise team. Did I tell you what songs I wanted? Like, did I ever? Did I ever? No? Did I? Did I give you some songs that? Did I? Yes, I did. Okay. I was like, how did they know the songs? Because the opening song is the one that I sing all the time. Um, actually, a couple of years ago, as I was leaving my church, I was taking a shower, and I played that, praise. I cried so much in the shower, and I still remember that, like, the experience that I had that morning. Um, Thank you for preparing our hearts for the service. By the way, your father and I were friends together. This morning, it is my pleasure and honor that I share this message with you. And I'm going to start with a story. Eugene just introduced me as the Asian Pacific Ministries coordinator at the North American Division. My job title is way too long. And I'm still figuring out what I am supposed to be doing. Nobody told me my job descriptions. My predecessor finished his term 2 years before I took over this position. So they just gave me this position, and I was sitting and looking around and like, what am I supposed to do? And then my kids, my son and my daughter, just, they came to me and like, Dad, you have been doing the local church ministry for 30 years. Now you became this person. What do you do? So I was like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out, right? And then I figured out very interesting fact, which is, for 30 years when I was doing the local church ministries, as a pastor, I give sermons, Bible studies, visitations, and I have been doing so many different things that your pastors do, but now I am doing more of administrations. Sounds very boring, right? It is boring. I enjoy my work, but one Friday night, I was sitting at a church way in the back, at the last pew, right? And I was praying to the Lord, Lord, I know you gave me this job, so that's why I am doing this, but I miss the pastoral ministry that I used to do. I want to give Bible studies. I want to give sermons on regular basis too. But it is my desire, but I know it is impossible for me to give sermons to the same congregation every Sabbath because I don't have any congregations that I am working for. So I prayed to the Lord, Lord, if you can, please give me some opportunities so that I can give Bible studies, so that I can have Bible studies with people. A few weeks later, I got a call from this young man. I am young, but younger man called me. And he said, Pastor Robin, before I picked up the phone, I screened the number. Usually, if there is no caller ID, I don't pick up the phone. I just let that person leave a voicemail, and then I give a call back. Because so many junk, callers just call me. I looked at the phone number. There was no caller ID. But for some reason, I wanted to pick up the phone. Should I or not? Do it. I picked up the phone. And this man, Pastor Robin Park, he addressed me as pastor, so I must know this person, right? This is not just random, person who is trying to sell something to me, right? So I said, yes, this is Robin Park. How can I help you? And he said, Pastor Robin, you don't know me, but I know you. That sounds very scary, right? So I was like, okay. How do you know me? Pastor Robin, in fact, we've met before. Oh, we did? Where? Do you remember the wedding earlier this year that you officiated? Yeah. Which one? The one in January. January? I think it was in January. Yeah. Pastor Park, I was one of the groomsmen. I know you have done so many different weddings, and you barely remember the faces of grooms and the brides. I was one of the groomsmen, so you probably don't remember my face. So I said, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. How can I help you? And he said, well, I know it's very inconvenient for you, but while you were giving a message during the wedding, I was standing and I was looking at you. And during the wedding, I felt that I needed to talk to you. So what is it about? And he said, before I tell you what I want, let me tell you my story. Okay? What is it? Pastor, I was born into an Adventist family. And I went to Adventist preschool, kindergarten, elementary school, junior high, high school, all Adventist school. Oh, praise the Lord. And he said, I went to Adventist college. And I went to Adventist graduate school. All Adventist schools throughout the entire my life. So I said, whoa, that's good. Adventist education. I believe in Adventist education. And he said, but Pastor, I'm not an Adventist. So I said, okay. And I'm not a Christian. In fact, against all my parents and grandparents and my friends and relatives' hope, I decided to leave Christianity. I'm leaving Adventism and I'm leaving Christianity. I was like, all right. And he said, during the wedding, this thought came to my mind. I am going to walk away from this Jesus thing, from this church thing. I'm going to walk away. But before I do that, I just had this strong feeling that I have to give this church or whoever, maybe you, one more chance. I know how busy you are. So you can say no. So I said, what if I say no? That's it. I'm out. So I was like, in my mind, I talk to God. Lord, I know that I prayed that I want to give Bible studies to somebody. But this is the hardest case ever. Have you ever had a Bible study with somebody who grew up as an Adventist, grew up as a Christian, who knows pretty much everything that our church teaches, yet you don't believe it? And you're going to leave church. How can I say no to it? Right? So I said, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. He said, Pastor, if you're busy, it's okay. I'm just calling you to see if this is really happening or not. So I said, no. It's happening. Would you come to my house next week? Tell me when you're not busy. And he said, like, Wednesday. Okay, Wednesday, come to my house. So I prayed to the Lord, Lord, well, the Bible studies that I wanted is the Bible study between me and another person who believes in Jesus, right? And who is willing to know more about Jesus. Not the person who knows everything, yet he wants to leave. He wants to walk away. What am I supposed to teach? Right? So I prayed, and then the Wednesday came, and he rang the bell. He just walked in. And then we had a Bible study for an hour and a half. After the Bible study, I asked him, are you coming back? Are you coming back next week? Guess what he said? Yes, Pastor, I'm coming back. I was like, okay, that's a good sign, right? The following week, we had the second, no, he came. He came. Have faith. We had the second Bible study. And after the Bible study, I asked him again, are you coming back? And he said, yes, I am. So that night I talked to my wife, honey, I think it's working. And the third week into it, he came back again. We had the Bible study. I was a little bit more confident because it was the third time. But in the middle of the Bible study, he stopped me. Pastor, can you stop for a second? Yes. What is it? By the way, he was very polite. He was very respectful. Okay? He was very kind. Very kindly, he told me, Pastor, all those things that you taught me for the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I already know. And I'll be just very, very honest with you. I don't need that. I mean, I'm not sarcastically telling you this, but genuinely I'm telling you that I really don't need any of those things. So I said, how about salvation? No. Even if Jesus comes back for the second coming, and all of you raised from the dead, and then go to heaven, and I am not going, and I'm not saved, I'm fine. How about forgiveness of your sin? No. I don't think I'm not that bad person. In fact, I'm a pretty decent person. I don't think I believe in the second coming of Jesus. I don't know if the Bible is true or not. So he actually in a very respectful way, he told me that basically, I don't need any of those things that you presented to me. So I gave him a little bit of smile. He was very serious. And he just looked at me. Why are you smiling at me? And I told him, because I was there. And he said, what do you mean you were there? Well, you are trying to walk away from church. Jesus. But I was there, the place where you want to go. I was not a Christian. Like, if you listened to my sermon yesterday, I told you I was not a Christian. I had no interest in Jesus, salvation, forgiveness, second coming. Nothing was that attractive to me. In fact, my dad taught me, do not go near Christians. Do not ever think about becoming Christians too, because it is not good for you. That's what I have learned from my family. So whenever evangelists or pastors or church, like Christians, knocking the door, and whenever they try to talk to me, I said, nope, I don't need it. Shutting the door. That's what I used to do all the time. Okay? Nothing was that attractive to me. Let's call this young man as John. So John asked me, why are you here? How did you become a pastor? John, it's a long story. And then I told him, it seems like we are having our last Bible study today. And you don't come back to my house next week. Because I have nothing else that I need to teach you. It is not a matter of the things that you don't know as a knowledge, but maybe something that you should know today before you walk out the door from my house. So, would you be open to it? I say, yeah, of course, let's do it. Well, whatever that is, like, just help me. Okay, then let's do it. So we had the last Bible study together. And then I asked him to open the Bible from the book of Luke. Chapter 15, verse 1 and 2. Now the tax collectors and sinners were all gathering around to hear Jesus. But the Pharisees and the teachers of the law muttered, this man welcomes sinners and eats with them. We see two different groups of people here. The first one is what? The tax collectors and sinners, and they were all considered as bad people. Okay? Morally wrong people. They were not welcomed by the community. You don't want to eat with them. You don't want to hang out with them. You don't want to invite them to your house because they are bad people. Thieves, robbers, prostitutes, liars, tax collectors, and all these kind of people, right? And another group of people, they were the Pharisees and the teachers of the law. They were the holy people. They were the righteous people. They are in the church, and they are serving God. But the people who were not happy with Jesus was the one, not with Jesus who were eating with them, but the ones who were looking at them like, hey, you're claiming yourself as one of the rabbis. But Jesus never claimed himself as a rabbi. That is how they looked at him. And Jesus said, and then the Pharisees and teachers said, you are one of the teachers, and how could you hang out with these people? They're bad people. How could you do that? And Jesus really, really wanted to explain why. But in order to explain why, he wanted to explain who Jesus really is. Who God really is. So, based on this question, who is Jesus? Right? Based on how you answer to this question, everything else will be decided. The way how you believe, the things that you believe, the way how you live, right? The things that you say, the things that you do will be decided based on how you understand God in your life. What kind of picture do you have? Like, who is Jesus to you? That is very, very important question, right? Depends on how you answer to that question. Everything else will be decided. So, the famous 3 parables in Luke chapter 15, which is about the first parable is about the lost sheep. Do you guys know about this story? Right? Anybody remembers what the second parable is? The second parable is about the lost coin. And the third one. Anybody remember what the third one is? About the lost son. Okay? 3 parables. The first one, the lost sheep. The shepherd had how many sheep? 100. He lost how many? 1. And after he realized that he lost this one of the sheep, he became crazy. Why? In order to find this lost one, he left 99 sheep on the field. You want to secure 99 first before you go out and look for the lost one. Wouldn't you do it? Right? You would do that. You will never leave 99 sheep on the field. Right? The moment when you realize the one sheep is gone, the first thing that you need to do is what? You have to secure 99 first, and then what? Let's go. Look for the lost one. That's what you need to do. But he actually became crazy. They're leaving 99 on the open field. Well, the wolves, the bears, and all these predators out there, right? They can take them anytime they want. But because of this idea that he lost one of the sheep, he went crazy. I'm going to show you 3 pictures again, okay? These 3 pictures in the same sequence, okay? But from a little bit different perspective. So the first one, what is the first one? The parable? Okay. Look at this. Little one there. But there is a guy. The reason why I like this picture is that the one who is coming at the sheep, it's blur. So you don't know, you don't see his face. But he ran to the sheep, right? And look at the face of the lost one. Looked very innocent. But he's lost. Let me talk about this story. You can find this story from YouTube. There was a mom and daughter. One day, this daughter was 6 years old. This daughter was playing outside of the house, and then the mom came. Hey, honey, I'm going to go to market, and so I'm going to come back. But do not go anywhere else, okay? Just stay here. I'm coming back, okay? And daughter says, don't worry about mom. Just don't worry. Come back, right? And the mom is gone, and another lady came. And then the lady says, hey, you want to go somewhere really fun with me? So this girl says, Oh, sure. So this girl followed that lady, and the lady actually took this little one to the train station. And they got on the train. And they went somewhere else, a few hours away from her house. She had no idea where she was. When she got out of the train, she was the one who was left. The lady was gone. The cop found her. And then the cops, they tried to find the mom, but they couldn't. They were like hundreds of miles away from her house, and she doesn't even remember her address. She was very, very young. Don't ever follow the strangers, okay? Right. So what happened was the cops sent her to an orphanage. Orphanage kept her for a few months, and the parents weren't there. So she was adopted by this American family. So she got on the plane, separated from the parents, and far away. And she lived there for 44 years. The mom came back home. Her daughter is gone. And she was going crazy. She made a poster like this. The girl on the right-hand side, that's the girl the mom lost. The mom said, every day she wakes up in the morning, it was hell. Because of this idea that she lost her daughter. She has done everything possible. She couldn't find her daughter. And finally, I mean, can you imagine that you lost something that is really, really precious? You know, I still remember that. You know, I lost my son for 3 minutes. You're laughing. But my wife and I, when my son was 2.5 years old, we went to a market, and then we got a cart. And then we put our son on the car seat, right? And then we bought so many stuff, so we had to put our son on the ground. And then my wife and I, after the shopping, we went out to the parking lot. We put everything in the trunk. The moment when I closed the trunk, I was able to see my wife's face. And I said, "Where's Josh?" And she said, "What are you talking about? Don't you have Josh?" "What are you talking about? Where's Josh?" And then we looked at each other. You know, that moment, did I know where my son is? Of course I do. I just came out from the market. And my son is supposed to be where? In the market. Even though we both knew where our son was, my heart dropped. Like, I couldn't think of anything else. I ran into the market. And I yelled, "Josh!" Everybody looked at me. And I found my son. He was standing in the corner, crying. 2 weeks ago, from today, 2 weeks ago, my son, he lives in Oregon, but he came down and visited. So I talked about this story. Like, I thought he doesn't remember that time he lost us, right? I thought he didn't, he doesn't remember that. In the middle of my talk, My son stopped me, Dad, I still remember that. You remember that? You know, we took you to Disneyland hundreds of times. You don't even remember any of those things. You remember that moment? It was so traumatic. I'm 30 years old, but I still remember that. Can you imagine a mom lost her daughter for 40 years? Every day she was looking for her daughter. So thank God the technology and science has been developed, right? So DNA match. So father and mother registered their DNA. And then the daughter also in America, she registered DNA too. And then organizations found the match, called the mom. Mrs. This and this. I think we found her. Seriously? And the organization called the daughter. We found your mother. So the daughter flew back to Korea. And this is the moment. This is the moment where the mom was about to hug her daughter for the first time. 44 years. Look at the mom's face. Crazy. And Jesus is saying, do you want to know who I am? I am the one who lost precious one. That's who I am. How about the lady who lost the coin? Look at her. Look at her face. She is kneeling down, wiping away entire floor. Look for the lost one. You remember the mother's face, right? How about the father's face? Same face. Luke chapter 15, verse 8 to 10. Or suppose a woman has 10 silver coins and loses one. Doesn't she light a lamp and sweep the house and search carefully until she finds it? And when she finds it, she calls her friends and neighbors together and says, "Rejoice with me, I have found my lost coin." In the same way, I tell you, there is rejoicing in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents. 3 parables, basically the same story. The precious one is lost. There is person who is all out searching. And the third one is what? After the lost one is found, there is a party going on. Right? All 3 parables are ending with parties. You know why? Because of the accusation. Because of the accusation. The accusation was, why do you eat with these people? And Jesus is explaining this whole thing to the Pharisees and the teachers of the law. Do you really want to know why I am hanging out with these people? Because they are back. So why 3 parables then, not just one? The first group, the lost sheep, represent those people who are lost. They know they are lost, but they don't know how to go back. The sheep is very dumb. You know that, right? If you just pick them up and then put them into the backyard, they were in the front yard, but if you take them into the backyard, they don't know where they are. So it represents those people who are lost They want to go back, but they don't know how. How about the lost coin? The lost coin represents those people who are lost. But they don't care. I don't think I'm lost. I don't care. How about the third one? They're the lost ones. They know how to go back. They just have to make up their mind, I want to go back home. But there is another one in Luke chapter 15 that was lost. Do you know who that person is? The older brother. Okay? The prodigal son is the younger brother. The older brother who never left the house of his father. Who never lost. Who never left, right? But he never lived his life as a son. You know why? Because in the Bible, he says, you killed this fattened calf for the one who wasted all of your money, and you never killed even a goat. Even though throughout this whole years, he literally said, slaving for you. So he was in the house of the Lord. He was the son of the Father, but he considered himself as what? So he represents those people who never left church, who never left Jesus, but he is still lost. What are you? So I asked John, we're still having a Bible study, right? John, I don't know if you believe in the Bible or not, but let me ask you this one question. Out of these three, what are you? He's like, coin? Because I don't care? And then I said, I'm going to ask you one more question. What is it? In this parable, in these three parables, who is more desperate? Is it the sheep? Is it the coin? Is it the son, the prodigal son? Or is it the shepherd, the woman, and the father? Who's more desperate? Tell me. Is it the one who's lost, or is it the one who's looking? So actually, these three parables, you should name them again. It is not about the parable of the lost coin. It is not about the parable of the lost son. It is not about the parable of the lost sheep. It is the parable about the shepherd who lost. It's about the woman who lost one of her coins. It is about the father who lost his son. So I told John, when you told me that you don't need any of those things that I have taught you, or you have learned, I agree, or I understand. How many of you really feel that every time you come to church that you are so desperate? I mean, we do have moments of desperation. But are we really that desperate? Right? So this parable is not actually what you need or what you don't need. The Christianity, Adventism, is actually not about what we can give to you or what you can get from church. It is not about that. The Bible is not about that, actually. Bible is not trying to prove anything. Although we're using our Bible to prove something. The Bible is actually about our God who needs us. John, I understand when you said you don't need any of those things. But let me tell you something. God needs you. So when I said, God needs you, John, who was having Bible study with me, he had this moment for like very long 30 seconds. And he said, Pastor, I never thought about that. Never thought about it that way. I always thought that I have to want something. I have to want salvation, forgiveness, Jesus, and all those things. But that is not actually true. God needs you. God wants you. You're not here not because you found God, but because you were found by God, my brothers and sisters. Although I said the Bible is not there to prove anything, but when you look at the book of Genesis, when sin entered, what did God say? One of the first things. Adam, where are you? God is the one who's searching. God is the one who's looking, right? The last book of the Bible, what is it? Revelation. And how is Jesus portrayed? The one who is outside of the house, knocking the door. Who is more desperate? Who's inside of the house? Us. And God is knocking. Open the door for me. Who is more desperate? Jesus needs us. You know, as I am ending my sermon today, all the important things happened in the Korean market. I lost my son, and this thing happened in Korean market parking lot too. It happened about a couple of years ago. I came out from the car, and I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Okay, I found out this pickup truck, and it is covered with these posters. How many of you are pet lovers? Raise your hand. Dogs and cats and all birds, right? This guy lost his dog. In fact, 2 ladies abducted this dog away from the owner. So he investigated the surveillance camera. Found out these 2 women took away those dogs. Go ahead. You know, when you lose something very, very important, you become crazy. Look at the next photo. Back of the truck. Normal people don't do this. Only desperate people can do this. Left side of the truck. He's telling everybody, I lost my son. I lost my dog. I'm desperately looking and I need my dog. I was taking the photos, and then my wife was right next to me. What are you doing? I told my wife, I need to tell people. I know it is just really, really hard. Like, probably try to find the needle, right? In the mount of haze. Maybe we have a very little chance. But this moved me. The very next Sabbath, I went to church, showed this picture to my church members. If you knew any of this dog nearby you, please call this person. We call that as evangelism. You know, many people just get confused. Evangelism is trying to sell a product to somebody who has no or little interest in us. Don't you need salvation? No, I'm not interested. You know why I came into church? Is not because the Seventh-day Adventist Church is so right and so correct. How many of you are married here? Raise your hand. Husband and wives, raise your hand. How many of you decided to marry your husband or wife because that person is so right? You know what? In fact, because you pretend and you act you are right all the time, the fights happen all the time. Am I right? You live the person. You decided to live your life with that person because you love that person. And Jesus is telling in Matthew chapter 28, go tell the world that I lost something precious. Just like the mom found the daughter. God is looking and God needs us. And 1 John chapter 4, verse 19. We love because he first loved us. My brothers and sisters, that is our God. Praise the Lord. It literally changed my life. The way how I live. The way why I go to church. Right? The reason why I go to church. The reason why I am still in the church, it is not because I needed something, but it's because I know that I'm loved. Because I know that I am needed by God. And our Father is like that. And that brings fundamental change in our faith in every aspect of our life. I really pray and hope that you find that God in your life and build up the relationship. So I told John, close the Bible. I told him, leave now. And I told him, if God does anything to you, you can call me anytime you want. But right before you leave, let me tell you one more thing. John, before you called me, I actually prayed to the Lord that I wanted to have a Bible study with somebody. And you called me. And you told me at the wedding, you were looking at me when I was preaching. You had this eager that you wanted to talk to me. What is that? God is speaking to you, John. God is inviting you. God is speaking to you and me both so that we can live in the house of the Father. Same invitation is to all of you. That loving Father is out there, still searching you and looking for you. And may the Lord's blessing and His grace fall down upon you so that you can freely enjoy the life that God has offered to you. Praise God. Thank you so much for